Okay, so here I am drawing, and I'm looking to develop the first negative shape. You can see I'm taking my time and I'm drawing very faintly. There's a circle, and I'm looking for the proportion, the width of the shape compared to the height. And you can see I'm now working around the outside, and I'm judging with my eye across from the edge and from the top down of that shape to make sure I've got the next piece of the negative shape. Then I have looked down from the edge to the base, and with my eye I've tried to work out the size of that light and the size of the width by comparing it with the original shape. Now that judgment is the most difficult bit, and that's where we have to practice. Just like Karate Kid, Sand to Floor, we have to practice assessing the width and height of objects. So here I have my negative shape. Now I haven't drawn the inside of that mug, I haven't called it mug, I've just been using my eye to ensure that I have the correct proportions. Now what I'm trying to do is use tone to apply inside the shape and look at those individual shapes. So you can see inside that mug handle the tone, the darkness and lightness informs us seeing it. So shadows are very important. I'm building those shadows up using what we call northeast rain, where the lines to the tone happen to be in the same format. Neat, precise, to try and ensure that you don't see the pencil marks, you actually see the shadows, the tone. You can see here, whilst what you're seeing, the shadow of the mug is down a bit, from my perspective, the shadow of the mug is through the hole that is the handle. So I'm building that tone up. At any one point of time here, you should fast forward this video, but I can now make sure you're aware that when I put the shadow line in very faintly first, I'm looking at bouncing the shadow off the edge of the handle and looking at where it arrives on the edge of the side of the mug. So I'm making sure my eye checks horizontally and vertically against the edge of the mug. That judgment, that ability to judge where things touch each other, the patterns, the shapes, is the critical thing in drawing. If we call the object a name like mug, then of course your memory of a mug takes over. Here we're looking closely at the shapes and replicating them as best we can, and that's when you end up with the drawing. It's really simple to talk about, but of course it's very hard in practice. You can see that adding the tone, I'm going around the contour, that is the shape of the handle in this case, as well as northeast rain, leaving bits of the paper clear to represent the lightness, the shine. And now at this point, I've decided to do the shadow. You can see to the left of the mug there's this big shadow caused by the light above me. And I want to put that into because that gives it a bit of realism. Notice how the tone on the mug is all going in at an angle. Now I'm using the flat of the pencil to start applying the tone. And I build that up, so I lie stuff down first, and then as I go, I will go over that as we build it up. Now this is where patience is critical. You can't get an effect unless you take your time, try and keep things happening in the same direction, and pretty much like colouring inside the lines. And if you do make a mistake, you can start building that up, and you can cover your mistakes by making the pencil marks darker. So instead of going dark to start off with, I start up lightly and then add tone as we go. You can see I'm doing my edge now. Made a bit of a mistake, you can see that. That's all right, I'll cover that by putting the pencil back into writing mode rather than drawing mode to get that accuracy. And you can see what I've done is I've covered that mistake up pretty well because you add tone as we go. Northeast rain, blend out that line, back into drawing mode with my pencil, northeast rain again. Now my body's going to, and you can see how I've built this tone up. So tone and the application of tone is as important as doing a line drawing. And I'm very keen for us to start practicing tone. To do so, you need a good quality pencil. HB does not cut the mustard. We're looking for 2B or 4B pencils. And I want you to get used to sharpening your pencil with a knife so you can use the flat edge of the graphite, that's the black stuff sticking out from the wood, that you can use that to tone, as you can see me building this up as we go. Pushing more and more effort in, you can see that I'm using the flat of the pencil to get some tone happening there, and we go over it a couple of times because you want to blend out those marks. We do not rub the paper with our fingers. That's primary school colouring in. And you can see I'm now building up the tone on the other side. I want to point out to you how I use the pencil in writing mode to do some accurate stuff. And then for sweeping stuff, I'll put the pencil in what I call drawing mode with your hand. So drawing mode, writing mode, drawing mode, writing mode. You choose the mode to suit the sorts of detail that you require. You can see as we've added the tone, I'm now going to do a fine line just to do some highlights with some shadow. Remember, it's important you can colour both sides of an area and leave the paper clear to give you highlights. And whilst that's a quick sketch, 15 minutes,